When the snow falls outside, you can hold me tight. When it's cold through the night, we'll stay warm inside. We'll feel the fire burning, baby. Spin that record one more time, 'cause we're gonna spend our night dancing in Christmas style. Pack your bags, pack your coat. Hurry up, it's time to go. Jingle bells and let it snow, playing on our radio. Feel the home fires burning, baby. This drive might take a while, but we are headed home, traveling Christmas style. Everybody's snowed, but we got the fire going. Who cares what the weathermen say? We're with the ones we love on Christmas Day. Laughter floats through the air, wrapping paper everywhere. Lights aglow on the tree. Nowhere else I'd rather be. Feel the heart fire burning, baby. Tell that story one more time. We're gonna spend our night living in Christmas style all night. Living in Christmas style, that's right. Living in Christmas style. When the snow falls outside, you can hold me tight. When it's cold through the night, we'll stay warm inside. We'll feel the fire burning, baby. Spin that record one more time, 'cause we're gonna spend our night dancing in Christmas style. Pack your bags, pack your coat. Hurry up, it's time to go. Jingle bells and let it snow, playing on our radio. Feel the home fires burning, baby. This drive might take a while, but we are travel in Christmas style. Everybody's snowed in, but we got the fire going. Who cares what the weathermen say? We're with the ones we love on Christmas Day. Laughter floats through the air, wrapping paper.
Good morning and Merry Christmas Eve.
Yes. As Susan says, Santa's coming tonight. I can't wait to see what Santa brings me.
Christmas Eve always seems like it's supposed to be dark when you say those words to me. I don't know how you feel about that.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Like I say Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, and I think like
Eve is at
the
night.
end of the day.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily the morning, but it is morning and it is technically
Right.
Christmas Eve.
Well, it's our special day. We do a big Christmas Eve with our family, and it's a really fun event this evening. So, and this year we, Mike's sister Lisa, had these shirts made for us to all wear on Christmas, but we're wearing them today because we're going to go down and see his dad from the 5th floor at the hospital. He's going to look out, and we're all going to be out there. And so we'll get to see him today. Yeah. So we're wearing our shirts today. Quarantine 2020.
Very nice. And kind of where this started, so to share just a little bit during the open about kind of like some family history for the Acquistos, is I used to really enjoy as a kid going to my grandfather's house. And he always had Christmas Eve at his house. And that's when kind of everybody got together for the family. And that was my favorite, I guess, holiday of the year and the favorite actual time, right? Not Christmas getting together with the family on the day after you open the presents, because that part's obviously amazing, but I'm just talking about family get-togethers.
Yeah.
So Christmas Eve I always really enjoyed. And, after we were married and we were handing out holidays, we said, you guys can pretty much have any holiday you want, but we wanted to maintain Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So that's the holiday that we get for Shana and I. And my side of the family comes and your side of the family comes. So it's like both sides come together, which is kind of cool. And then other people have the different holidays. So my sister Amy has one holiday and Lisa has another and my mom and dad have another. And
just kind of share them. Yeah,
we share those, but we stay at the same place for each holiday, if that makes sense on my side. And then you go to yours.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was a lot of sharing, not really real estate related, but still sharing a piece of us with you.
So, hey, if anybody's new out there watching, I think we have some new visitors. Raise your hand. Oh, we can't see them.
No, you can't see them.
Welcome.
Just chat that in.
We like new visitors. But we're sorry in advance. We're kind of
We do take roll call every single morning, so just chat in when you join us, and then we know you're present. And that helps us kind of know who's on and what's going on, and we can establish kind of a rapport with you, right?
Yeah.
So, without further ado, I think we're ready to hit the bell and move on to topic 1. Alrighty, good morning, and this is Mike and Shana Acquisto on a new Christmas Eve talking about foundation repairs and how you would maneuver through those as it relates to plumbing. So we're on this longer journey speaking about different plumbing related items, and this is kind of the first topic here for us.
Yep.
And so we're deep dived into this one specific section regarding foundation repairs and what goes on there.
Just some things you should know and take note of if you experience this with a client. I would say the first thing, let's talk about the warranties.
Yes.
So if you purchase a home that has had foundation work in the past, you want to make sure that you have some sort of warranty, that's going to come with the house and be conveyed. So if you have an issue with, movement or something down the road, that you have that warranty. So there's all different types of warranties. Some are limited. Some are only for a couple of years. So understand what the warranty is. But I think the most important thing is the warranty doesn't just automatically transfer with the sale of the home. It is there's some requirements. So what has to happen is you have to, I would say let the foundation company know that you're going to be purchasing this home and find out exactly what they need to make sure that warranty transfers. Well, one, make sure that the warranty that the seller gave you is actually in existence and transferable. And if it is, it's something you typically have to do within 30 days, okay, of purchasing the home. Within 30 days, you need to contact them and transfer the warranty to yourself. Now, sometimes there's a fee for that. There's like a $75 fee, $150. They're not huge, but typically there's a fee. So when you are negotiating a contract, maybe those are things that you want to negotiate in the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. What are you doing?
No, I was looking at the cup. It's green, but on the screen
it's really cool when you
different.
you have that. So just understand if a home has had foundation work, check into the warranty and find out a little bit more about it, and preferably before you enter into a contract.
And then we have to talk about the plumbing test, right?
Yeah. So, when you have had a home that has had foundation work, you want to ask the question, has this home had, I see the foundation repairs, but did they do a plumbing test after it to just ensure that none of the plumbing, shifted and maybe, it caused a leak of some sort. So you want to find out about the plumbing test. If it has had foundation work, and even if they provide a plumbing test, I would recommend that you get your plumber to do a camera test just to check it out. Even if, it was 10 years ago, we had it done, things still move. So maybe you just go ahead and have that done anyhow, right? And that's different than the hydrostatic testing. This is just a camera scope that the plumber, looks to see if he sees anything alarming. If he does, then maybe you want to go through and do the hydrostatic testing, which that is a more of an invasive test that you have to get permission from the seller to do, and you have to identify if damage occurs, who's going to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So.
Very true. And then maybe a little bit about structural engineering versus like what a foundation company does for the repair.
Yes. So a lot of foundation companies will have a structural engineer that actually goes out and does their measuring and things like that, but not always. So a lot of times it's just a technician, right? And they're pretty knowledgeable, but they're not a licensed structural engineer.
Very true.
So if you suspect foundation movement, instead of just calling a foundation company, I always recommend to contact a structural engineer first. They are an unbiased to the property, gives an unbiased opinion of what they think is going on there.
So they're saying because you would believe that, if you bring a roofer out to your house, you always kind of have a roofing problem, right? And it needs to be replaced somehow. And the same thing, if you call out a foundation repair company, there's always going to be well, you kind of should.
Right.
So right. I get that. That makes sense.
So you want to employ a independent structural engineer. They're licensed. They have to have a degree. There's a lot that they have to go through to be a licensed engineer, right?
Very
then
good.
They have to, be under someone for years, kind of like an appraiser. So, do that first. And then, start researching the foundation companies. And like I said, a lot of foundation companies will have a structural engineer that they employ, but, I'm not saying they're all, in cahoots together, but it's just for your protection. I think that's the safest.
I don't know who cahoots is, but like that's a weird thing to be in with. Like I don't know where the
cahoots.
If anyone knows the actual origin of that word,
what does cahoots
chat it
mean?
in right now. Well, it means like you're working together, like behind the scenes, to like have this sneaky plan. We get what it means, but where in the heck does that really come from?
I don't know where cahoots came from.
It's really weird.
It's kind of a cool word.
I don't even know how. Well, I have a spelling problem. I definitely wouldn't know how to spell that word.
Just give it a shot.
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay. All right.
And then costs.
Costs. I hear this all the time. Like, oh, it's got to be like $30,000. No, unless it's like you're getting robbed by a foundation company. It's not that expensive. So, what I've seen, and Stacy pulled a couple yesterday, and I pulled a couple, and what I we looked back on previous files to see kind of what the costs were at, and I've seen anywhere from $250 to $550 per pier. So depending on how many piers that you have to put in, I typically see anywhere from 2 or 3 to 10. So that's probably pretty standard. So with that, it should include the plumbing test, a structural engineer report, and all of that. So just make sure that kind of that approximate cost, and that way you'll kind of be able to tell when someone comes out.
There's different methods in which they shore it up, correct?
Yeah.
So they can be used, they can use a variety of them, which could account for the price differential, and obviously depending on the company for their profit margin.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially there's several different types, to make sure you understand which ones you like best. We must have been in this a long time, so because if you ask me the number, I remember the cost per pier being dramatically lower.
$175 is what I remember.
That's the number that I remember exactly, and I would have said the same exact number when asked. But I believe that was a individual that was always putting in like probably at least 10 piers on an average home, because they were buying like older homes, and it was like 10 piers, and that was kind of the pricing. And I don't think they had the engineering reports with that company in particular.
No, and I think doing your research is super important, because it's not about the price here. I don't know that you want the cheapest guy coming out to repair your foundation. You want to go just as you would any other vendor. You want to do some research on them and make sure they're reputable and credible and all of that. They've been around for a while. So just do your research, but if they happen to be the cheapest, that's great, but I wouldn't base my decision on just that.
And remember, I did talk just yesterday about that, about the costs that are really associated with foundation repair, and one of the largest ones is your drop in value. So the name and the warranty and whatever goes along there is actually super important. So that would help alleviate a price drop.
Yes, and on the seller side, you want to have all of that documentation and convey it out there before, a buyer even puts an offer in, because you want them to feel comfortable with what you're doing. And if you've kind of piecemealed it and, you call the foundation company and they're out of business, a buyer's not going to feel good about that, and they're either going to walk away or they're going to offer you something way less to take on that risk.
Yep. So when you have an issue, it is best to fully address it up front, to get all your documentation and allow the other person to feel confident in it and present it fully and properly.
And I don't think that it's, I guess this goes into our next one. There are some myths out there, I think, as far as foundation goes. One, that it's like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive and it means this house is falling apart. No, it doesn't. I mean, it happens. Our soil here is expansive in Texas, and it's common to have some movement. So I think the way they engineer them now is good. It gives them, some ability to move a little bit, but there are some myths. I've heard that overwatering is a cause of it, and I don't know. This is something I think we need to understand also, because I've heard that you should have a soaker hose, and then now I hear you shouldn't have a soaker hose, and that really doesn't affect it unless you have a space and it's been there for a couple of years. Yeah, it could start having some issues.
I think gutters is the biggest problem, but that's for a future topic discussion. Maybe we'll hit that up on Monday for you, so be aware for that, because I like to talk gutters and foundation issues.
Yeah.
I do have a final update for us, and then we'll be able to move on.
Okay.
Cahoots.
Yeah.
Thank you to Stacy and Roanoke for chatting in. That cahoots may derive from a French,
Cecile.
meaning cabin or hut, suggesting a notion that two or more people are hidden away working together in secret. Oh. So that's to be in.
We're in cahoots every day.
There you go.
Not in a cabin.
No, well, we're not like.
We're in our hut.
They're not like secrets. I share too much. It's kind of one of those things. Are you good with closing this topic out and letting people know that stay tuned, because there's more to come?
Message retracted.
Alrighty. So business bank statement loans are back.
Banking. Mike loves to talk about this.
I like finance topics for sure, and specifically this one. So as an agent, what you want to understand is there's all types of different mortgages out there. And what we've kind of moved towards is since the 2008, the financial crisis, most loans were going towards full documentation loans. So what that means is a W-2 wage earner putting down all their income and fully documenting that, and looking at tax returns and all those items. As a business owner, what you would most likely do is have income that comes in at this number, and then you would have write-offs and expenses that would go along, and then you would have a net income that is most likely lower than your gross income, because you write things off, and that becomes your taxable income. And the reason you do that is because you want to pay less in income tax. But in doing so, now you harm yourself on being able to qualify for a loan properly at the fullest possible rate. So there's it's like a double-edged sword thing. And the reason this topic is important now is because as the economy is changing, and there's more self-employed people now than there kind of ever has been. And the pandemic has brought us different opportunities. But in doing those, right, it changes how you would be able to finance and qualify for a mortgage in most cases. So the business bank statement loan is how they would qualify you for your income. And then they have a factor associated with it. Now, there's going to be a few things that go along with this, that there's going to be a lower LTV. So what that means is that you wouldn't be able to borrow as much, so that the loan is protected and the mortgage company is protected in the event of default. You're putting more skin in the game to compensate for the lack of documentation. And then what you're also going to have is you're going to have higher interest rates to reward them more. Most likely you're going to have higher origination fees as well to offset that.
Risk.
Yeah, there's more risk, right? But what happens is they eventually get done. So you're looking at about a 70% LTV, or loan to value ratio in most situations. You're looking at loans that would be not a problem to get up to $2 million, so that you could have that actual loan amount. And that would kind of be, for the most part, some of your upper limits. Of course, you can get them larger, but those are some of the upper limits. And the interest rates are going to generally be probably a 1.5 higher than they would be for a traditional mortgage. Now, a traditional mortgage at that price point and loan to value ratio. So there's just rough approximates, because as you go up and you go from a conforming loan to a jumbo loan and a super jumbo, right? There's like different, there's different interest rates. So just kind of take that into account when you're thinking through it to accomplish this. But why it's important for you is there's tons of these people out there who have been on the sidelines and looking for different products. And some of them have done very well in the economy, and they have money, but they don't qualify. And a lot of them have been having to wait till they had all cash to be able to pay for the place. So imagine what that really means, right? Is they have this, and then they probably have a reasonable income because they're the owners of the business, and then they're qualified based on their bank statement, and based on their industry, they take a certain factor or percentage to qualify.
Okay.
So I don't want to get way too into the weeds because people are probably like nodding off, but you shouldn't be because this is super important.
Yeah, and if you have if you know of someone that they think,
there's a lot of people who don't
write
really
everything
know.
off or whatever, that's an
Exactly.
option. Yeah.
Yes. So what they do is they will most likely, they take the full deposit into the bank account. And then depending on the industry they're in, they'll take a percentage of that and figure on for expenses. And that would be for your heat, your lights, your electric, for rent and overhead, and for insurance, and like all types of things, marketing that you would do as a company. And that becomes your income that they qualify you based on. And they would look at a track record, 12, 24, maybe even 36 months of track record of the business bank statements, and utilizing that as your income. In doing so, the longer documentation you can provide of your stability of income, the more they feel comfortable with it, and thus the lower the interest rate would possibly be. Okay, so a lot of these people are like super thankful to be able to get these mortgages so that they can move forward.
Sure.
And this is a really good source of new business for you as an agent. Often these people might not be as educated on the product as one would think. So it is something that you would probably need to introduce to them and just have a conversation about it, right? And a lot of people
Introduce them. I would find out who some lenders are that do this, because I really wasn't aware that they do this anymore.
Correct. So this is, I'm trying to introduce the thing,
Yeah.
right? And so if you have any questions about it, you can reach out directly to me, and I would be very, very happy to address that with you and get you in touch with the proper people. But basically, just go out and rattle and look around and rustle up some people. And when you find them, then we can work through it, and I'll get you to the right people depending on the location of it, the loan amounts they're looking for, what type it is, whether it's a purchase or a refinance, or whether it's a new construction they're building from scratch, right? There's all different things and different places that they should go. So it really depends on the price and the terms that they're looking for.
Does this scare you at all?
Scare me?
Just because of what happened in 08, 09, I think it's a little bit different. That
Yeah,
was
so
more of a
those were
stated-
like really, really crazy.
Yeah.
So the bank statement loan shows a history of the income coming in.
Yeah.
Right? And then they're mitigating that. Good question, Shana. So they're mitigating that with having more down payment and more skin in the game by the borrower.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about this at 70% LTV and a track record of 12, 24, 36 months of the person earning this income and taking a factor off for expenses that's relevant for their industry. Okay. If you get that number wrong dramatically, then that would be a big difference.
Yeah.
Right? So if you were giving somebody credit for 50% of their income, but maybe they had a grocery store, and the grocery store has a profit margin of like 5%. Then you're like way off on the numbers with every sale coming through the register because you got to buy the product, right? So that would be like your assumption would be way off.
Yeah.
But assuming that you're doing the right thing, and maybe you're talking about consultants that have certain expenses, or agents like us or realtors, right? Then that would be just a touch different. So dig into it. And no, I think it's different because there's going to be a large amount of money down, which makes it that the default rate is going to be lower. Where it gets scary is when all of a sudden the LTV approaches a much higher number.
Right.
And where the documentation for it is not with bank statements, but rather you're just clearly stating and saying, I make, like you're writing on a piece of paper,
I can't
I'm like
believe they did
Acquisto
loans like
make
that. Really?
$50,000 a month. And I'm just like, here you go, right? So that would be a kind of a weird thing. And you're like, I want a 100% loan, and here's my documentation is I signed a note, like literally wrote a note and said like, I make $50,000 a month.
We saw those.
And that was a real thing, and those were problematic.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I think we're okay.
Topic. I like that.
It is, but let's go sell tons of multi-million dollar homes specifically done like that.
Yeah.
Thank Thank you, guys.
Great topic. All right.
Thank you very much. Hit the bell. Well, we're off for the day.
And tomorrow.
Okay.
We're off tomorrow.
Yes, no, there'll be no TNT tomorrow for sure. And we will be back on Monday. Is that cool with you?
Yep.
All right.
Monday.
Very
Merry
good.
Christmas.
We did go over 2 topics today. We went over foundation repairs and specifically a lot to do with the warranty associated with them, the costs and everything that goes there. And then we went over the business bank statement loans and how you can potentially bring in more clients for yourself as an agent, utilizing those and reaching out to me to connect you with the right people. You do have one in mind?
I do.
See? You know, that's the thing right there.
Yep.
So you were just thinking through this, huh?
Yeah.
Do you want to say the name right now? No, you don't? Okay. But you do have one. That's good. Do you know approximate price point you would think about?
What'd you say, up to 2?
Up to 2 for the actual loan. So that would mean that they could come in 30% above that. So 2.6?
Okay, yeah, 2.6.
2.6?
I don't know. I was thinking more 4, but they can only
4?
2, so they'd have
No. So then above that, it goes to 60% LTV.
Okay.
So then they can get more, but then it adjusts a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, you can definitely get up to 4. So
Okay.
you have one in mind for $4 million.
Got it. All right.
Hey, think about that. So hang on just one second. She thought about a client based on our discussion for $4 million property.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big commission, everybody, right? So think about that yourself. And that's why what we're trying to do here is bring up different topics. Sometimes it's appropriate for you at that exact moment, and sometimes it's not. But sometimes you got to actually just like reflect and take a moment. And then, bam,
Just comes to you.
you got it. So we did have a person joining us for the first time here. So do you want to maybe thank Martha Johnson for jumping on here with us?
Thanks, Martha.
Very good. And if you want to reach
Martha
out
next
to
week?
us, so if you want to reach out to us directly, we're always here for you and we're always willing to take new topics each week.
Yes, we are.
Thank you guys
So,
very much.
Merry Christmas. Hope Santa brings you everything you want.
See you Monday.
When the snow falls outside, you can hold me tight. When it's cold through the night, we'll stay warm inside. We'll feel the fire burning, baby. Spin that record one more time. 'Cause we're gonna spend our night dancing in Christmas style. Pack your bags, pack your coat. Hurry up, it's time to go. Jingle bells and let it snow, playing on our radio. Feel the home fires burning, baby. This drive might take a while, but we are headed home, traveling Christmas style.